Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome to woodshopcowboy.com, and this week we are building cabinets, specifically this cabinet for tool trays. This is going to be great. It could be used in your workshop. It could be used as a piece of furniture in your kids' room, as it is being used right here. These skills here can be modified to fit almost any type of cabinet project made out of plywood, nice and cheap and sturdy. All right, catch you on the flip side. Of course, the first step to any cabinet, ripping and cross-cutting the parts out on the table saw. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, check to see if this is square. It is. Then I'm going to strike a line at 17.5 inches. And I'm going to use my big combo square here to move that line across the piece of plywood onto the other side. There we go. And I will cut this out. So the next step is, now that we have our sides cut, the next step is to cut some dados into those sides. And to do that, I'm going to create a quick guide using a router and a straight bit and a small jig. And you can see on this jig it has, it's just a nice piece of scrap plywood with a small fence screwed onto it. And I've got about 4 inches of overhang over here, about 5 inches over there. One side is going to be for my half-inch dados, which are for the drawers, and 1/2 is going to be for 3/4 inch dados, and that is going to be for the where the carcass comes together. Those rabbet joints on the edges. Yeah. So first we get these guys set up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to line up our router, put it right up against the fence, drop it, and cut straight through. And we're actually going to be cutting off a small strip here of this wood. It'll be smaller next time you see it. And that means we will have a kind of a zero clearance, know exactly where this this dado will be on the carcass jig. So we could set it up pretty easily and be really accurate with our dados. So now I have my two sides of the carcass lined up. I have my plunge router with my 1/2 inch bit. We're going to cut right along this guide. I'll bring my plunge router over to the left. I'm going to go left to right. I'm going to keep this cord wrapped up right here, drop it down, and I'll go down. I have a depth stop already set for my for the depth of these guys, and it really doesn't matter what my depth is on these dados, as long as for all the dados and grooves that I make and rabbets on this board, on this carcass that I make, they're all the same depth. Everything should work out at the end. So I just kind of eyeballed this. I'm not going to worry about it too much, and we'll just make sure it all fits together at the end of this gig. All right, let's get started. With this guy dry assembled, I'm ready to do a test fit. You can see that this guy works really well. It comes right in there. I can reach in and grab it. I'll be able to put a whole bunch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And I'm also going to, while this is apart, sand everything to about 120 grit, because this is just a little workstation for my kid, a shop cabinet essentially. And I'm not doing anything super fancy, so I am just going to sand it down to 120, and that should be good enough for him. All right. We're going to take our parts and begin assembly. For the assembly process, I've cut up. Always nice to have a project with a jig involved, and this is like a, you might call them a dead man helper or a right angle jig. It's just a clamping spot, so in between the pieces you can put two pieces together like that, and you can clamp on, make a nice square edge. And so I finally got some opportunity to make a couple of those, and I'm going to use them to assemble the cabinet. So the assembly is done. I'm just taking a wet rag and I'm just going to wipe the inside corners to make sure I don't have any glue squeeze out. Still got a little bit more to go. We got to ease the corners, come in here and kind of match these kind of cut them in there with a chisel. That should take a few minutes. I've got an outside corner here that I need to even up, but it's assembled. We're ready to go on to the next steps. Flush trim router bit on my 2-horse router, plunge router, to even up the top here and get everything the flush. I really enjoy using that 2 horsepower router, but my favorite router is definitely one of these 1-horse trim routers. They're often called laminate routers. They're really quite affordable, 50-60 bucks a pop. Usually come in a quarter-inch shaft, and they are really awesome for really small edge work, and I'm going to be doing some of that now. Now what's great is that I have set this bit, and I haven't actually touched this in a couple weeks. I was doing some previous furniture projects for this suite of furniture in the kids' room, and now I'm going to be able to drop the same detail here by keeping my setup the same. And that's one thing I like about having 1 or 2 or 3 routers. You can keep your edge treatment in one, you can keep your dados in another, and you don't have to switch out the bits and reset the height very often. Because every time you reset a height or you switch out a bit or you move something, what the difficulty is coming back and hitting that exactly. And if you can set up the tool and do all of that one particular operation correctly the first time, you'll save yourself a whole lot of time and a whole lot of heartache. This beast. We are going to get a vacuum. We're going to vacuum off all the dust, wipe it down with a little mineral spirits and a rag. And then as a full coat of shellac, let it dry, sand it at 320. A second coat of shellac, let it dry, sand it at 320. And the last coat will be half and half solvent, so it's denatured alcohol, and half shellac. thinned out, and then we wipe that on using a rag. That'll give you a nice smooth surface ready to go up into the bedroom today. Coat one done. And now you see the cabinets installed. I think it looks really great here. You can see the desk and a matching chair, so we've got the full suite of furniture. This chair is an opendesk.cc project, and it really came out well. You'll see pictures during this, after this build, how these guys came out. I also built the Olivia desk, learned how to use the CNC router on that. Hopefully you'll see that come out in more projects. And this standing desk here was a custom creation. It really helps organize the room and kind of pulls it together, having everything be the same material and the same finish. Thank you very much.